Over 2,000 years ago, somewhere in the Aegean Sea between the Greek mainland and the east, an advanced culture was flourishing in the islands known today as the Cyclades. This culture is known today as the Cycladic culture, named after the islands where its remains were first discovered. These islands are called Sikinos, Seriphos, Paros, Naxos, Amorgos, Ios, Santorini or Thera, Foligandros, Milos, Anafi, and the most famous Delos, birthplace of Apollo and Artemis. We will see how their lifestyle, art, and architecture have left a mark in history. But before we start, add to the video text, Cycladic culture, 3200 to 2000 BCE. The Cycladic civilization thrived in an archipelago of islands in the Aegean Sea known as the Cyclades. Today, the islands are mostly barren, rocky, and dry. However, archaeological evidence shows that the islands were greener in the past. Back then, the islands had fertile soil suitable for agriculture and a favorable climate that made life comfortable for those who lived there. The Cycladic people were largely engaged in fishing, farming, and trade. Their ships would travel all over the Aegean, bringing them into contact with other cultures such as the Minoans on the island of Crete. The Cycladic people were expert sailors and traders, taking advantage of their strategic location in the Aegean Sea to control trade routes connecting the eastern Mediterranean to mainland Greece. The Cycladic islands were relatively close to each other, and the people who inhabited them likely had frequent interactions. This led to a shared culture and way of life across the different islands, although each island had its own distinct identity. Island life meant that the Cycladic people were heavily reliant on the sea for sustenance and transportation. They developed advanced shipbuilding techniques and became skilled sailors, which allowed them to explore and settle various islands in the Aegean. This also facilitated trade with other civilizations in the region, contributing to their wealth and cultural exchange. But what kind of art did they create? The Cycladic culture is renowned for creating some of the most unique and thought-provoking sculptures in ancient history. Among their most iconic works are the marble figurines known as folded arm figurines. These sculptures are characterized by their simple yet striking appearance, featuring human figures with their arms folded across their chest. The figurines are typically small, ranging from a few inches to a foot in height, and are crafted from white marble, a material that was readily available in the Cyclades. The choice of marble and the simplicity of the sculptures suggest that the statues were mass-produced in workshops rather than being individually commissioned works. However, what makes these figurines truly fascinating is not their technical execution, but rather the mystery surrounding their purpose and meaning. The name folded arm figurines itself is a testament to the enigmatic nature of these sculptures, as no one knows exactly what they represent. One theory suggests that these statues may have been used in religious ceremonies or as votive offerings to the gods. Their simple and somewhat abstract forms may have been intended to symbolize human beings, perhaps representing worshippers or even the gods themselves. Another intriguing idea is that the folded arms could signify a form of prayer or supplication, with the hands pressed together in a gesture of devotion. This interpretation is supported by the discovery of some figurines with raised hands, which could be seen as an act of giving or offering to the divine. Additionally, the use of marble, a material associated with purity and immortality, further reinforces the possible religious significance of these sculptures. In fact, many of these figurines have been found buried alongside individuals, suggesting that they may have played a role in burial rituals. The presence of these statues in tombs could indicate that they were believed to possess protective powers, capable of guiding the deceased on their journey to the afterlife. Alternatively, the folded arm figurines may have been part of a broader mortuary cult, where certain objects or symbols were regularly deposited in graves to honor the dead. Whatever their exact function, these enigmatic sculptures remain one of the most captivating aspects of Cycladic art, inviting viewers to contemplate their deeper meaning and the beliefs of the people who created them. Yet the Cycladic people were not only sailors and traders, but also had a vibrant religious life. Evidence suggests that they worshipped a variety of deities, including a supreme being who was possibly a sky god. Many scholars believe that this supreme deity may have been identified with Zeus, the chief of the Olympian gods in later Greek mythology. The Cycladic religion also seems to have had a strong emphasis on goddess worship, with several figurines and other artifacts depicting female deities or priestesses. These goddesses may have been associated with fertility, the harvest, or other aspects of nature. One of the most compelling aspects of Cycladic religion is the possibility that the islands were home to fertility cults. These cults were centered around the worship of fertility gods and goddesses, and often involved ritualized activities intended to ensure the prosperity of crops and livestock. The best evidence for the existence of such cults comes from the numerous figurines and other artwork depicting female deities with exaggerated sexual features. These depictions suggest that the Cycladic people may have been preoccupied with themes of fertility and abundance, which is also reflected in their art. While much of their artwork consists of abstract marble sculptures, the Cycladic people also created more representational pieces, particularly on their pottery. This pottery often features intricate designs of animals, plants, and even human figures engaged in various activities. For example, some vessels depict scenes of daily life, such as fishermen casting their nets or farmers tending to their fields. Others show more mythical or fantastical creatures, such as griffins, sphinxes, and other hybrid animals. The Cycladic settlements were typically situated on the coast, reflecting their dependence on the sea. The islands were generally small, and the largest settlements could accommodate a few hundred to a few thousand inhabitants. The houses were usually constructed from stone and had flat or tiled roofs. The layout of the settlements varied, but some featured grid patterns, indicating a degree of urban planning. In addition to their coastal settlements, the Cycladic people also built fortified settlements on some of the islands. These fortifications, often in the form of thick stone walls, served as protection against potential invaders or pirates. One of the most well-known sites from the Cycladic culture is Akrotiri, Thera, located on the island of Santorini. Akrotiri was a major settlement that flourished during the Bronze Age, roughly contemporary with the Minoan civilization on Crete. It is famous for its advanced urban planning, including paved streets, public buildings, and a sophisticated water system. Similar to the Minoan city of Knossos, Akrotiri was destroyed by a volcanic eruption, preserving it in a state of remarkable antiquity. Another important site is the temple complex at Delos, which was dedicated to the twin gods Apollo and Artemis. The sanctuary at Delos was a major religious center, and is known for its monumental architecture, including the massive marble terrace known as the Lion Monument. These sites, along with others such as the Philokopi on Melos and the archaeological site on Amorgos, provide valuable insights into the art, architecture, and urban planning of the Cycladic culture. It appears that the Cycladic culture was not a centralized empire, but rather a network of independent city-states or chieftainships. Each island or major settlement likely had its own local ruler or council of elders who managed local affairs. Despite the absence of a centralized authority, the Cycladic people seem to have maintained a sense of shared identity and culture across the different islands. It is speculated that the Cycladic culture began to decline around 2000 BCE, marking the end of the Bronze Age in the Aegean. The exact causes of this decline are unknown, but it is believed that a combination of factors contributed to its demise. The drying up of the climate may have caused environmental problems leading to the abandonment of some islands. Additionally, the rise of the Mycenaean civilization in mainland Greece and the expansion of the Minoan kingdom on Crete may have gradually overshadowed the Cycladic culture. As the Mycenaeans gained prominence, they absorbed many of the artistic and cultural elements of the Cycladic people, leading to a blending of traditions. The Cycladic culture had a profound impact on subsequent civilizations in the Aegean. Its artistic legacy, particularly the marble figurines, continued to inspire later Greek artists. For example, the stark simplicity and abstract qualities of Cycladic sculpture were rediscovered and celebrated during the early 20th century by modern artists such as Pablo Picasso and Constantin Brancusi. Their work in turn influenced the development of modern art movements like Cubism and Surrealism. Overall, the Cycladic culture represents a significant chapter in the prehistory of Europe. Its seafaring people created a distinctive art and architecture that reflected their close relationship with the natural world. While much of their culture remains shrouded in mystery, the surviving artifacts and archaeological sites continue to captivate researchers and inspire awe in all who marvel at the ingenuity of these ancient islanders. This has been a quick tour of the Cycladic culture. Let me know what you think in the comments.